Welcome to the Fiorina Beauty Podcast, hosted by Patty Saponaro. Be prepared to hear stories of triumph, challenge, and overcoming. Along the way, you'll learn a few things too. But most importantly, you'll learn one thing. Say Bella, which means you are beautiful. Welcome to the Fiorina Beauty Podcast.
Hi, I'm Patty Saponaro, founder, along with my daughter Brianna of Fiorina Beauty, and welcome to our Fiorina Beauty podcast. And today I have a very special guest, and her name is Danielle. So please help me welcome Danielle. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited to be here today.
Well, we are so excited. I'm so happy that Brianna invited and reached out to you. So I'm thrilled. And it's great to finally meet you in person.
I know. I've been looking forward to this for a while now. I've only heard wonderful things about you and the brand, and so it's been fun.
Well, I also have been very excited to meet you. And, you know, we know you're super busy. You're kind of a social media expert, influencer, right?
Yes, ma'am. Do fashion, lifestyle influencing. Been doing that since 2016, and it's been a whirlwind that I did not expect to start happening, but it did.
Wow. Okay, I need some fashion stuff. So when we get off set, let's...
Yes, we will definitely talk fashion.
Because your outfit, by the way, is beautiful.
Well, thank you. Yours is as well.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I need to have something fun like that.
Yes.
It's super cute. And so, yes, I'm looking forward to that because I always need a little help, right?
Yes, I love anything fashion or design. That to me is so fun to talk about. So anytime.
Oh, perfect. Yes. Well, I need that. So perfect. So, we are so excited that you took the time out of your busy schedule to come on our podcast. And this show is called the Ground Zero Show. And what do we mean by that? We mean that just kind of share with us how you feel before you started taking the product. You know, just kind of maybe if you had some challenges or health issues or whatever it might be. So if you don't mind just kind of sharing, where were you at before you started taking our product?
So I guess I'll start back. It was 2023. I started having just really bad like body pain, like through my neck and my spine and like pelvis and hip area. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, something's not right, like I'm 30 years old, like something's not right? So I ended up going to a rheumatologist and they do a bunch of testing and I found out I actually it's on a line between autoimmune and autoinflammatory, but basically it is a form of arthritis. It's called spondyloarthritis and it affects your tendons. And so I was experiencing a lot of tightness, a lot of pain. And I started looking into a bunch of research on, because I don't want to have to take medicine, my whole life, Right. So I was like, what are things that I can do? And I found out that one of the things that really causes you body pain is high sugar diet. The inflammation from those foods cause you to have like just the body pain, the aching, things like that, even brain fog, like inflammation, not good for you at all. And then I also was like, okay, so what else causes this? And, we hear cortisol. We hear cortisol all the time. But for me, I knew it was a stress hormone, but I didn't know exactly, what went into play. Right. Well, it kind of made sense because starting from like 2020 to 2023, I had some things happen in my life that were very stressful, very, very kind of leaning towards traumatic. And that's when I started having all this body pain and all this stuff. And my rheumatologist basically told me, he's like, look, most of the patients I have are women. Most of the women patients I have gone through something that has basically increased their cortisol levels to such a point that are unsustainable. You can't live with that. Wow. And so he said, we're going to have to reduce your cortisol. We're going to have to, follow a diet that's anti-inflammatory, and then, you should be better. And so that was the state I was in, just trying to figure out this and that on what to do. And it did help, but it wasn't quite everything I needed.
Mm-hmm. Right. Wow.
Yeah.
So young.
Yes, I know.
And I'm not even sure what was it called again?
Spondyloarthritis. And mine is considered, I think it's called unidentified or unspecified. So basically you can have psoriatic arthritis, or so my condition, if it does not, basically if I don't temper it now, it could get worse as I get older. So that's why I'm very much interested in preventative anything, just to keep it where it's at or to go away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, I'm so sorry, but actually I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because, it's very difficult to do our research. It's difficult to figure out, we're not doctors, right? We're not trying to be doctors. We're just trying to help ourselves. And that's very difficult. So it's amazing all the research you did and everything that you found.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay. I'm a little speechless. A lot of things
It's overwhelming a bit. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So from 2020 to 2023, you did all this research and you found out. And so how did that go? I mean, did it help at all in 2023 to where we are today, or kind of? Yeah.
Well, I guess so I started noticing, like I said, in 2020, that's when things started going awry, where I started realizing like, okay, I'm having, all this body pain and all these things, like something's not right. And so I went to multiple doctors, trying to figure out, they tested me for Sjogren's syndrome, which is an autoimmune disorder, right? We thought it was more autoimmune related, but every test they did, and they have to do a specific panel of tests for you and like key markers that identify if you have it or not, everything came back negative. So having the diagnosis was actually, it was rough to hear, but it was like, okay, I can actually do something with this, because when you're in the dark, you can't treat something if you don't know what you have going on, right?
Yeah, that's good.
So that really was kind of like, okay, now that I have this, I know what this is, now what do I do for it?
Right.
And so since, finding out in 2023, I've been trying to do anti-inflammatory things like, I can't do HIIT workouts, anything that spikes my cortisol, like running, things like that.
Oh, right.
Yoga,
Makes
Pilates.
sense.
Absolutely. Right.
Oh my goodness. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just even little things like that you wouldn't think of.
No.
Because
of course not.
I loved HIIT workouts. I loved doing, working out and all these different classes and stuff. And to find out like, okay, no, that's actually not, because I did notice when I would do them, I felt more tired after.
Wow.
Which was interesting. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
But now it all makes sense,
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And you would never think of it.
No, never. I mean, and especially when you're, late 20s to early 30s, let me tell you something. Finding out a few months after your 30th birthday, you have an arthritic disease is not what you want to be finding out, okay?
Oh. And you would never think.
No.
Someone so young.
No, and I've always been active. I've always worked out. I've always, to me, it was kind of like, oh, okay, my neck kind of hurts sometimes, or like my back hurts. But I just figured,
Right.
You're just getting older, things happen. But yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so young.
I know.
Now, here's the other crazy thing. 3 years. 3 years of your journey to find out.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It was a long time. It was a very long time. And it became frustrating. And I've had other friends that have had, different, whether it's a disease or they have a disorder or something, something with their health that's going wrong. And sometimes it takes, not only when you finally find somebody, a doctor that can tell you, okay, this is what we think this is, then it's the journey of the healing after.
Right.
That also takes so much time, because everyone's so different. What may work for me may not work for you, and then vice versa.
Right. So exhausting.
It is. It is.
Wow. Okay, so you get this information in 2023, and you start to put all the pieces to the puzzle. And I love what you said about the working out. Who would think?
Right.
Who in the world would think?
Right.
Right? I go swimming every day.
Yeah.
Right? Who would think? So so from 2023 to where we are today, what kind of did you find that worked, or you tried? And, kind of talk to me a little bit about this last year of you still had whatever. Tell me about the symptoms and the, what's been going on?
So I would wake up in the morning and I would have just, how I could explain it, I was stiff. It's very stiff. And if I wasn't stiff, I was achy. And it felt like, when you get the flu and you have those body aches kind of in your joints and things like that, it was feeling like that more often than not, right?
Oh, wow.
So I started incorporating, I got this little, it was on Amazon, it was like the anti-inflammatory cookbook. Okay, so I would get my grocery list off of that. I was like, okay, what you feed your body really makes a difference, right? Mm-hmm. And there's certain, and I was very, how do I put this? Leery of certain things that were advertised and like different classes or lymphatic things and things like that, which are all great.
Right.
But for me, I found that Pilates, yoga, walks, long walks, those were really helpful for me.
Yes.
I had to learn that I actually bought, I got a hot tub so I could soak in it because that helped. At night. Okay, exactly. But I mean, it helped.
Yes.
Just kind of relax my muscles and tendons and things like that. And I did try different classes, like working out. I was doing working out at one point. I was doing training and things like that. And I absolutely loved it. But I found that sometimes, because my pain is through my spine, that there's certain things that when I was able to do that when I was 25, now it's like it's hurting me to do, right? Yeah. So a lot of this past year has been trial and error for me.
Right.
And I take like the lowest dose of diclofenac. That is a prescription. It's basically an anti-inflammatory. And my rheumatologist has been very thrilled with the progress I've made. But here's something that's crazy. We can't control the things that happen in life. So when you have something stressful come up, I've noticed I would start to get a flare-up. And a flare-up is where I could be going along. It's like, okay, I've managed this. I'm not having body pain. Or if I do, it's minimal in comparison to what I was having, right? But when I have the stress, I notice I start having the tightness. I start having, all the inflammation is coming back, right? So it's like, okay, well, now that I've conquered this, how do I go back and, get back to reset, right?
Right. Yes.
So that's where, for me, being outside, I know that sounds weird, but being outside and going on walks and then yoga and Pilates activity-wise have been the things that really have helped, and then just anti-inflammatory type of things. But
wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It is.
It was a little crazy.
Well, good for you though.
Thank you.
Because that's not easy.
Thank you.
And good for you for kind of hanging in there. That's a long time. It's frustrating. And I think most of us would probably give up and just say, well, whatever, I don't seem to be one way or the other, right? You can say that to yourself. And then next thing you know, you're really plummeting down into a...
Yes.
Yeah. So and good for you for not doing that.
Yeah.
Because that's amazing.
Thank you.
I love Pilates.
Yes, it's amazing.
Do you do the, I always call it the wrong thing, the reformer?
Oh, the reformer, yeah. I love that. But I'm going to tell you something. I've gone to some of these classes and I'm like, these women are absolute beasts in this class. They are, and I mean that in the most respectful, honoring way. Right. They are doing things on this machine that I'm over here and my legs are shaking and my core, I'm oh my gosh, I'm like a noodle, you know? It's
I laugh because my physical therapy, I begged to go to a different physical therapist and they had the reformers. And so I did this month pass thing. Okay. And I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm a lot older than you are. And I remember thinking to myself, are you kidding me? These people, wow.
I know.
Yeah. But amazing though. I felt amazing.
Yeah.
I actually want to buy one. I want one. But then I thought, okay, I'm going to buy one. I don't know what to do with the thing.
I know.
I need the instructor. So
I do too.
That's stupid. I need to
No, well, and that's what I love about the classes because you're around other people of all different levels, you know, and you have the people that you're inspired by. You're okay, I hope, maybe in a year I can be where they're at or more. Who knows how long they've been doing it. But I need sometimes the adjustments. It's well, you need to actually, your cores, you need to tighten your core here. You need to pull in more with this leg. Yeah, if I had it at home, I don't know if I've even doing it right.
Yeah, well, that's always been my biggest thing. I'm a swimmer. I know I need to do weights, especially at my age, but I don't know what I'm doing. And so, definitely the classes is good. Now, I was going to ask you too, so I know you kind of had the inflammatory diet. But really, I mean, where are you at as far as the pain and, doing those things? How much did it help? Because pain is not fun.
No, it's not fun. It did help.
Okay.
It did help. And as long as I could keep my stress down and not have sugars and like added sugars and things like that, like I had to start looking at nutrition labels in a completely different way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Yes, I do.
there was this one drink, right? And it was like a fitness, hydrating drink. It was like 48% of your daily value of added sugar. And I was like, oh my God, that's my nightmare. Like I literally can't have something like that, right?
Yes.
So it did help. But trying to find things to like balance have been the things that like have helped the most.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing: with high inflammation, you don't have as much energy, and you have more brain fog.
Exactly.
And so that's one of those things that was not easy until like the last couple months.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is difficult. So the pain is difficult. And then you mentioned the cortisol. So did you have some way of measuring that, or did you just have to depend on going back to the doctor? Or
So I have to go back because of the diclofenac. It can have a negative effect on like your liver, long term. I have to make sure I drink a lot of fluids and things like that. So I have to go in for labs and I think it's like every 3 or 4 months I go in.
Okay.
And he measures, like, I do a blood test and everything, and they check my cortisol levels. And when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and I can keep my stress down, I usually am okay. But what's crazy is that it's still pretty high.
right.
It's still pretty high. I know. And I'm excited because I go in, I think it's next month. I go in and I'm curious.
Yes.
I'm curious to see what it says.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And that really is a huge struggle, right? We have, and I don't know what the percentages are, but a lot of people are on medication for their blood sugar. And it's a very difficult thing to balance, and you do need extra help in doing that. You mentioned something else that is so key, and it's so important for us to be ingredient readers.
Yes.
And you mentioned a drink that you thought was healthy. And in my health coaching of decades, I found that was a norm for people. Well, what are you talking about? This is healthy.
Yeah.
It says, I'm like, well, you're reading the marketing.
Yes, absolutely.
You're not reading the ingredients.
I know.
So I'd have to teach them, you got to turn it over. You got to read the ingredients. You got to read not only what's in it, but also, like you said, how many sugars, what are the different numbers of sodium and all that type of thing. And we're not taught that.
No.
And
we're not.
and honestly, that is the key. So that's so wonderful that you've learned how to do that at a young age, because it's honestly, it is the most important thing. I always say to my mom, wait, take a picture of the back of it.
Yeah.
Because she'll say, well, they said.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's the marketing. Take a picture of the ingredients, send it over to me. And I can tell right away.
Absolutely.
That those ingredients are not matching what they said. And there's a lot of great products out there, so I'm not, bad mouthing.
Oh, no, but sure. Sure.
That was one of our biggest goals behind launching our company was we wanted the ingredients to match the story.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Because, that tells it all.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so what incredible lessons that you've learned, but good for you for learning them. A lot of people wouldn't have. They would have just went on whatever medication and,
well, and
just trucked through.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's just not a good quality of life. I try to be as natural as one can be with what I consume and eat and things like that, because I feel like, I was born in 93, right?
Oh.
And it was one of those things where, we had everything from remember when they had the ketchup and it was like purple and green and it was like some advertisement. Yeah, it was like, but all these, now I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, how many dyes and chemicals were in this ketchup that I was consuming? You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then, think it was more around, high school. Everyone was really pushing like veganism, right? Which is great. But for me personally, I crave meat. Like if I don't eat meat, I feel very weak and things. And then it came out around college, like everyone's looking at labels and everybody's looking at all these things. And it was one of those things that you don't have awareness to something unless you're educated, right? You don't know better.
Absolutely.
And that was something that even with supplements or other companies, you would look and you'd read the label and it has all these words that, first off, I cannot spell nor pronounce. Okay.
Right.
So why am I consuming it? That's my
Thank
thing.
you.
Okay.
Exactly.
And so now I look, when I'm looking for foods or ingredients or anything like that in, whether it's supplements or whatever, I want to see a very small section of what's in that. I don't want to see preservatives. I don't want to see fillers, because I believe those are not natural to our bodies.
No.
And our bodies know, which causes inflammation. I mean, that's right. It's this like do loop that we're in, right?
Yes. Yes.
My mom, bless her heart, I came home for Easter and she had these like sweets, right?
Yeah.
And we're looking at the sweets and she's like, oh, you used to eat these all the time when you were a kid. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, I flip it over. Bioengineered ingredients in big, bold letters.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, okay, absolutely. And I told my mom, she was like, oh, she likes these. She grabbed them.
Right.
It was as simple as that.
Right.
And when I showed her, she was like, oh my goodness, like we can't, we don't need to eat that. And I go, I know. So I immediately threw it in the trash,
That's right. That's right.
Because I don't even want to give that to somebody. You know what I mean? It's just, no.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's poison.
It is poison. And, so I started my journey when I was 18. And now I'm 62.
No way.
Yeah.
You do
62.
not look 62.
You're so
I don't
kind.
know what
I wish
62
these
looks
lights
like.
would help me.
But no, you look amazing.
Yeah. Oh, you're kind. You're kind. Yeah. Yeah. Someone needs to invent a light that, hides it all.
We'll blur.
I actually, so I got to just say this. So I asked the whole team, I'm like, is there any way you can edit my bag?
Oh, stop.
They're like, no, it's video. I'm like, oh, okay. It's okay. It's okay.
That is so funny.
Yeah, no, I was dead serious. But anyway, thank you.
No, you need to do, Doris Day, her husband, one of the people she married later in life, he was, I think he was in photography or film or something of that sort. I'm kind of half telling this story. But what he did is he ended up putting pantyhose over the lens. So all of her pictures, she looked perfectly blurred and beautiful and stuff.
I didn't know that. I loved Doris Day.
I know.
Really?
Is that not crazy?
I did not know that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good fact.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So maybe we'll grab some pantyhose
Hello,
and
can everybody get some pantyhose?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, they just said no. Please.
That's so funny.
Yeah, no, and I'm dead serious because I've actually said it a few times. Is there something you can do? But anyway, no, so, I started this quest because I had stomach aches and headaches in my health journey.
Okay.
And fast forward, I'm now a mom. And, my daughter's on the dance team. They have more junk in that dance room. I would go in and I would just want to lose my head.
Yeah.
But I was not the norm. All the other mothers were like, oh, yes, please. Yeah, let's get donuts. Let's get what. And I'm like, oh, no. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Right. So I was the weirdo. Always been the weirdo. Or, you have the famous, I'm not going to say brand names, but, the hydration. And I would tell my kids, do not drink that crap. Do not. And I'd have our special, minerals and such that we used to hydrate.
Yeah.
And so I was just, that weirdo. And, but it's come around because of the internet, I believe, that people are a little bit more educated, but you'd be surprised.
I know.
When we were, we did a powder. Our Beauty Balance is 3 products in one. We did a powder because you can only fit so much in a capsule. Well, now that means you have to sweeten it. So I was like, oh, yeah, no, we're not using artificial sweeteners. We're not even doing natural flavors. We're doing the real thing.
Yeah.
Well, they thought it was nuts. It took a long time, but incredible. One of the lead formulators, we had several. He's the one that brought it through the finish line with his team. His team's amazing.
That's exciting.
And they nailed that taste.
Yeah.
With lemon and lime juice. Hello.
Yeah. It tastes
A
great.
little stevia leaves. Thank you. And
does.
a little monk fruit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, it is a quest. Unfortunately, the dyes are in everything. What really breaks my heart is it's in a lot of children's things.
Yes.
Very heartbreaking.
I know.
And so anyway, with that, but I just want to say to you, you've done such a phenomenal job. And so before we kind of sign off, so the biggest thing was pain. Was there anything else? Energy you mentioned?
Pain, energy, and obviously, like I said, for me, it was almost like a catch-22, right? Yes. Because when you have stress, the stress causes the inflammation. So it's like I'm having to keep diet right, the stress down, and honestly, that was kind of overwhelming. That alone was stressful,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
So those were probably my main things where, lack of energy, focus, that kind of goes hand in hand for me. And I want to also preface this, I am diagnosed ADD, but I do not like taking the medicine for it because it gives me anxiety. Right. And it's always, I quit taking it in college because I was like, this is just not going to work, Right. It was just too much. It would mess my stomach up, the whole thing. And so anyway, energy, focus, and body pain, inflammation, those were the things that were really, causing me serious problems in my day-to-day life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I've learned so much today.
Well, I have too.
Oh my goodness. And this has just been so enjoyable.
Yes.
And I mean, your journey's amazing.
Thank you.
Just amazing. And I just appreciate you sharing with us today. And I'm so excited for our next podcast.
Yes.
To hear where you're at today. So very, very excited for that. But thanks for coming on and, sharing your ground zero.
Hey, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on here. And I absolutely love Fiorina. It's amazing.
Oh,
yes.
Well, we appreciate you. So Danielle, we love you. Say Bella is our tagline, means you're beautiful, and you truly are beautiful inside and out. And thank you for sharing. Like I said, I learned so much. And with that, I just want to say to all of you, thank you for coming and joining us today. And I want to just say, as I always do, say Bella, you're beautiful. God bless you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Fiorina Beauty Podcast. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights to enhance your wellness journey. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with your friends and family. Your feedback means the world to us. Make sure to subscribe to the Fiorina Beauty Podcast on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. We release new content every week packed with tips, stories, and interviews to empower you on your path to beauty and well-being. Remember, your support helps us grow and reach more listeners like you who are passionate about living a balanced and radiant life. Together, let's continue this journey of beauty and empowerment. Stay tuned for next week's episode, and until then, say Bella. Thank you again for listening.